Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every fortnight we get together to talk about TV, movies, and online content, help you answer the question, is it wrong to feel that my favourite thing has been snubbed? I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Joining me today is Dylan Blight.
Yes, it is.
Oh, thanks. Also joining me is Nicholas Pryor.
It's good to be back here on the couch.
Wrong show. Yeah, this is actually What Do You Want to Watch? This episode we'll be talking about a bunch of stuff we've been watching for the last month, because believe it or not, the last episode pre-recorded. And then
bullshit.
Yeah. And then we'll be talking about some awards news, which is most of the news from the last fortnight also, and then we'll be talking about the movie we ended up watching, There Will Be Blood. But let's jump straight into what's in our watch history. Dylan, you and me both watched How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden Worlds. What did you think? Are you a fan of... How do you feel about the first two? Because I like the first one. Second one, not as much.
I really like both.
Yeah.
I think this is the weakest, but I think I really liked both, and I think this is the weakest. I don't think it's bad. I think it's okay, but I definitely feel like the villain was not that interesting, and given the stakes of the previous film, which was, I feel, kind of a little bit more epic with the family relevance, spoilers, his mum, and, you know, these old dormant dragons, and it just felt a lot more epic than, oh, it's a guy that hunts dragons.
Yes.
And I know the main plot of the movie is supposed to be about more than just the villain. It's supposed to be about like wrapping up their
Relationship.
Their relationship and their stories, I suppose. But if that was the case, I would have preferred the movie just to focus on that and have a journey without a villain than force one in just for the sake of the film, I suppose. But it was still, you know, beautifully animated, and the ending was really sweet. But I just feel as a final entry into the franchise, I was a little bit let down by the overall plot and villain, I suppose.
Yeah, I think I had pretty similar sentiments. You can check out my review over at explosionnetwork.com. But just the scenes with the with Toothless and the Light Fury were very, very beautiful. I could have watched a full documentary of just watching them interact, I think. I think the marketing kind of ruined the ending a little bit, because they showed shots that were from the ending which sort of undercut what they were trying to go for. And then
was that the shots of him like saying goodbye to him and all that kind of stuff?
No, not particularly. Not exactly.
Okay.
And then the other thing I've been thinking about is that pretty much, I guess, slight spoilers, but Hiccup heals or fixes Toothless. So, like in the last couple of movies, they've sort of both been disabled because he lost his leg, and Toothless has had part of his wing ruined, but now he fixed it, and then, you know, he can go find the love of his life and be happy. I don't know if that messaging's the greatest, but you know what I mean?
I
mean, only when you really think about it, but
I mean, slight spoilers again, but the plot of this movie is basically he ditches his best friend the first piece of tail he gets.
Not a solid bro.
Oh god, yeah. But yeah, beautifully shot, beautifully animated. Yeah, very cool. Definitely worth checking out though.
Yeah, it's not bad. I don't think.
Yeah.
I just think out of like comparing it to the other two, it's the worst to me.
Nick, I was very surprised when I went over to your Trakt today. I saw that you went and saw The Mule by Clint Eastwood.
I did go see The Mule.
Why?
I did. Well, I like Clint Eastwood as an actor and director, and the shorts for it looked pretty good. Immediately coming out of it, I enjoyed it. I think I gave it about a 7. But on second thought, I don't know, I still enjoyed it, but thinking about it, there's plot points that don't go anywhere. There's a lot of the characters seem unnecessary, and love it or hate it, I like Clint Eastwood's acting, but it is grumpy old Clint Eastwood being grumpy old Clint Eastwood, so there's that going for it. But yeah, I mean, If you like Clint Eastwood, I recommend going and seeing it, but I don't think it's going to be up for any awards.
No, I didn't think so. I saw a bit on Saturday Night Live where I think Pete Davidson and John Mulaney were talking about it, and it's pretty much... They described it as Clint Eastwood being the best at driving Mexican drugs, even better than Mexican drug dealers. So
I think it for an analog for another movie, it's not unlike Gran Torino, like well-meaning but a little bit racist.
It's old people
man.
wish fulfillment.
Yeah, and I think Stacey and I were the youngest people by about 20 years or 30 years in the cinema.
Which is weird, because I also heard there's some sex scenes in this film as well. Which is...
Oh, the implied sex. I don't think it's a sex scene in particular.
Okay.
Yeah.
We talked about it on our most anticipated films of the year episode last fortnight. Glass. Dylan, you went and checked it out. All the buzz I've seen has been not positive, but what do you think?
If you're a fan of the previous two movies, or even Split, it's going to be enjoyable to a degree just to see more of these characters. But as a standalone movie, it's half-assed. The plot... I like... You're either going to love it or hate it, the ending and the big twist, because of course... Oh, spoilers, there's a big twist, because of course there's going to be a big twist. I didn't hate it, but at the same time I didn't love it. And since a lot of what this movie rides on is its ending, because it's a lot of build up, and if the ending doesn't give you that oh wow moment, then it's a lot of build up for nothing. To me, it was just build up. Okay, like I was neither angered or disappointed, but it was fun to see Bruce Willis return in that role. I don't think he's fantastic in the movie, but it's Bruce Willis actually acting, which is a thing to call out for it. Like, I'm not saying he deserves an Academy Award for this, but usually when you watch Bruce Willis movies, he's not actually acting.
No,
so
half-assing it the last couple.
Yeah, I was happy to see him actually doing a performance. And of course, McAvoy is fun with his in that role. I guess he's. I've seen a lot of people be like, "Who should have been nominated for Academy Award?" I'm like, no, just because he's having fun with all these different split personalities stuff. I don't think it's a fantastic performance. It's certainly a fun performance. But yeah, I mean, if you enjoyed that character and you enjoyed Bruce Willis's character from Glass, I'm a much bigger fan of Unbreakable than Split, even though I like both movies. And then, of course, Samuel L. Jackson returning as Glass, which is the titular character, I guess, of the movie, even though he doesn't show up for about 30 to 40 minutes into it, which was actually quite surprising. But when he does show up, Samuel L. Jackson absolutely scene steals from everyone else, including McAvoy, which is something to say considering he's playing such a eccentric character, I guess, split personalities and all these sorts of things. But yeah, I reckon Samuel L. Jackson, once he shows up, he kind of just show steals a movie, and he's great once again.
Do you think the marketing would have been better if it wasn't called Glass and you didn't know Samuel L. Jackson was in it until that point? Or do they allude to him being in it the whole time?
No, well, no. I think they could have kept him out of the marketing, kept it, called it something else, and never showed him, because as I just said, he doesn't show up for quite a while into the movie, and like this isn't really a big spoiler, because unless you haven't watched the trailers, but like the first time he kind of shows up and other characters learn that he's even in the same place that they're being held in, is where McAvoy and Bruce Willis's characters are in this room, and then all of a sudden Samuel L. Jackson's wheeled into the room as well, and Bruce Willis's character, of course, is like, this motherfucker, I can't remember what he says, but that's when he's surprised. So there could have been a build up to that moment of where Bruce Willis is revealed, oh, he's here as well, and then it could have been revealed to the audience at the same time, and it would have been a lot cooler. But yeah, the entire movie, because we know he's in it and a big part of the marketing, I'm just like, where is he? Like, when's he going to show up? When's he going to do something? Like, and he escapes eventually if you've seen the trailer. So a lot of it is like, how's he pull this off? Considering how tight under security they all are?
Is it a case of they told too much in the marketing?
I guess, yeah, but somewhat, because a lot of what's going to happen, eventually they break out, they're going to fight, all these sorts of things. And then because you've had it all teased, and then once it gets to actually seeing what happens, it's just not as eventful as you probably want it to be.
Yeah.
Cool. So I went out to cinema and saw an Oscar-nominated film. I watched The Favourite. Pretty much tells the story of these two cousins who sort of try and win the favour of Queen Anne back in the period where Queen Anne was alive.
Is this the one with Emma Stone?
With Emma Stone, Rachel Weisz.
Yeah, I really wanted to go see that.
Yeah, it's a good film. It was really enjoyable to watch. It's not like the greatest thing I've ever seen, but it was a funny, enjoyable film that I can see why it's getting the acclaim that it does. I think Olivia Colman's really good. She's like sort of this sort of tragic figure because she's being swayed by all these different people and she's sort of just a pawn for other people to sort of exploit. Emma Stone, yeah, brilliant. Rachel Weisz, brilliant. And then Nicholas Hoult is the opposition leader, is in a very scene-stealing role as well. So definitely check out The Favourite. Nick, you've watched a couple of films that are very important to me and Dylan. You watched Paddington.
Yes.
And then you watched Paddington 2.
Yes.
Your
One
future
night
in the
after
Explosion
the other.
Network relies on how you answer these questions. What do you think?
I really enjoyed them. I didn't go
good.
into it expecting a whole lot, but yeah, I've really enjoyed them. I think I rated them both 8. Yeah, they're enjoyable movies. I don't really have a whole lot to say about them, but yeah.
But you felt good after watching them?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I felt good, but I enjoyed the experience.
How could you not be filled with joy after watching Paddington? You are dead inside. Get out of here.
Okay, see you later. It's been nice knowing you all.
Thank you, Nick, for joining us this week. Let's move on. I'll give Kieran a call.
Go join me at 9 Bite.
All right. So this past week, a certain game came out called Kingdom Hearts 3. And if you listen to the most recent episode of Arcade Couch, a certain rocker mummy was surprised that Dylan hadn't seen Frozen prior to this game being released. Have you rectified that, Dylan?
I sure did last night as of recording.
Yeah? What did you think of Frozen?
I liked it.
Yeah?
I liked it. I don't think it's fantastic or, you know, I definitely wouldn't put it up there as any like top 10 list of Disney films or anything like that, but it was enjoyable. It was fun. It made me laugh out loud at one point. The Olaf scene where they like first meet him and what's her name? I can't remember the character's names, but the princess or the one he's trying to get up to
Anna.
Is okay.
Anna and Elsa.
Yeah. Anna's like, do you know where the queen is? He's like, yeah, why? And it's like, well, can you take us there? Yeah, why? And it just does it over and over. That part made me laugh a lot. The songs are good. I'm glad that I actually because the reason I never watched it in the first place is because I was worn out on hearing the fucking Let It Go song over and over to the point it became a meme. And then I was like, I cannot watch this movie because it's just a meme in my mind. But now, having been several years since it came out and the memes have all, died off and it's not on my fucking Twitter feed constantly over and over, I was actually able to watch it and be like, this song's good. And I don't hate it anymore because I remember I heard it way too much in fucking Vine videos and whatever else when the movie came out that if I watched it, it would have been like, I hate this song. Please, I'm sick of hearing it. But at least I can watch it now and be like, yeah, that was a good song. Good job.
Cool.
The power of love.
Yeah, it's very powerful. So I rented a movie called Hearts Beat Loud. I don't know if you guys have heard of this one. Stars Nick Offerman and what's the girl's name? Hang on.
Kirstie Clemens.
Kirstie Clemens, yes. So it's pretty much a story of he owns a record store that sort of the lease is coming out. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to keep running it anymore because he's a jerk and doesn't run it very well. But he's like a
Nick Offerman plays a jerk.
Yeah, I know, a little bit. But he's like a music tragic. He likes to have jam sessions with his daughter, which is about to go off to university. But then they do this song together called Hearts Beat Loud, which you should definitely check out on Spotify. It's really good. And then like it sort of blows up. It shows up on some indie Spotify playlist. And then, he's sort of pushing for her to start a band and like take it seriously. And then, yeah, it's a nice indie comedy with some music chucked in. Very enjoyable. Also got Toni Collette in there. And Ted Danson as a bartender. Never seen
That's
that
a bit
before.
on the nose.
Yeah. Yeah, so Hearts Beat Loud. Nick, you checked out Game Night.
Oh, I did, yes.
Great
yes,
comedy from last year. What do you think?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think I'll put it on the same level as about Tag. Like, it's just a good comedy, yeah. Some twists and turns I didn't expect coming, and Jesse Plemons is probably the star of that movie, I think.
Yeah, he's a scene stealer in that.
Yeah.
It's really good.
But yeah, I definitely recommend going to see it, especially since it's on Netflix now. So, yeah, go watch one of the good comedies from last year.
Dylan, I saw you celebrated Australia Day by watching Tomorrow When the War Began, an Australian film. What'd you
That was recorded, that was filmed near where I live.
Yeah?
What a horrible movie.
I've never seen it.
Absolutely atrocious.
No, what was the story about you finding that?
I've got a pile of Blu-rays I own that I haven't watched, and pretty much every year I'm constantly like, I need to just hurry up and I need to get through these. Need to get through these because it always, it doesn't like double in size every year, but it certainly doesn't really go down. So I was like, fuck it, I'm really gonna make an effort, and I pulled out and I watched like a. Watch one, whatever, and I was digging through it, and I found that, which I'd never actually opened since I brought it for like $5 when my local Video Easy was having a closing down sale, and I brought like a handful of Blu-rays for like $5 each. So I brought it just because it was cheap, but because I'd never opened it, I opened it and found out there was 2 copies of the Blu-ray.
Score!
That was
Explosion Network giveaway.
well, fucking. I wouldn't be so mean as to give anyone that film. Yeah, it was. I mean. It's bad from start to finish. Everything about it's bad. I've no like real redeeming factor for it. The actors are mostly like TV, like Home and Away-ish, Neighbours, whatever actors, and you can tell a lot because they just really cannot carry a scene dramatically, or even the action scenes in this movie. The overall plot I found quite stupid. There's also really weird things they do, like because the plot is the world or Australia or whatever the fuck, Australia is invaded by an unnamed. They never really say who it is.
It's like an Australian Red Dawn, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. But what's really weird, and I don't know if they did this not to come to seem racist or anything like that, but it was really odd to me that they never try and figure out who's actually invaded their country, but every single military soldier that they're fighting against are all Asian, and not once do you hear them say like try and work out like who is it China, is it they never try and rationalize who the fuck has invaded them or anything, is it North Korea, is it, there's no, which I found quite odd. They're just like,
that's because all Asians look the same and nobody wanted to appear racist.
No, I think it might be also political because you don't want to piss off our closest. Like,
yeah, that's
like Indonesia is a security threat to Australia, so you don't really want to.
But that was the same thing with Red Dawn. They spent a ton of money re-CGing because originally it was meant to be China invading.
Was it?
In the Chris Hemsworth.
I just find it really weird that like if someone invaded, you would try. One of the first questions, if it was me, would be like, who invaded us? But there's not one scene in the entire movie where they try and work out who's actually invaded. Or anything. I
mean, it's not really that important.
Yeah, not having seen the movie, like, it doesn't matter to the people on the ground. Like, they're not going to organise a counterattack and go invade their country.
I guess not, but...
If you're dealing with more high-level strategic kind of stuff, yeah, that's a factor. But down, like, a Red Dawn type scenario, it's not really important who's attacking you.
I'm sure in, like, a down moment, they're like, hey, I wonder who's attacking us.
Mate, I mean, I would be wondering. And also, every single character is very stereotypical. Like, the blonde girl is ditzy and dumb. Because there's like 9 main characters or whatever, and they gather and they all go out camping, and that's how they miss the invasion while they're out camping or whatever. The one Asian person who comes along with them plays piano and is smart. Because, of course.
Yeah.
You got... yeah, and the main character who's a girl is like this strong neutral kind of character. There's a stoner character who's always smoking weed, long hair, hippie, the rough and tough dumb dude. Yeah, they're all very teenage. And it's based on a book, and I have no idea if the book's as bad as the movie, but I found the movie very paint by numbers to such a degree that it was just boring. It could have been a lot more. Like, if it was 90 minutes of dumb fun, I probably would have enjoyed it so much, but I just found it so bad that it wasn't even enjoyable, really. Which was a pity.
Yeah.
Potential.
Yeah, and to clarify, this is the 2010 movie, not the 2016 TV series.
They did a TV series?
Yeah. I think it was like on ABC or something. But yeah. Not shocking. In comparison, how was Hobo with a Shotgun?
Probably just as bad, but on a different level. That was another one where this is also coming out of my Blu-ray pile of shame. There's another one where I was like, okay, they've done these grindhouse films well, obviously. You know, Tarantino, Rodriguez, Machete. I really enjoy the first Machete. I didn't find Machete Kills as good as the first one, but this is definitely where they've stretched a trailer that was funny for 2 to 3 minutes into a feature, and it's just not entertaining at all. It's not funny. It's not silly enough to be fun. The villain, like, they don't have someone playing the villain that's kind of charismatic. Jesus Christ,
Charismatic?
words. Thank you, Ashley. Not like to carry the role to kind of make it silly and fun, or like, for example, in Machete, you have in the first one you've got fucking what's his name? Under Siege.
Steven Seagal.
You got Steven Seagal in the sequel. You got fucking Mel Gibson and shit happening. You know, so you got big actors kind of, and then you've got Danny Trejo carrying these movies with a lot of actors littered out. Of course, this one does have I can't remember does have a good actor in the leading role playing the hobo. Rutger Hauer playing the hobo. But other than that, everyone else in the movie is terrible, and it definitely does fall more into the camp of this actually just feels like a really bad movie, not where they're good actors pretending to be bad that makes it full circle come around to being good again, if that makes any sense, which is how I feel the rest of the Grindhouse movies pulled it off. So I wouldn't suggest this one.
Would you suggest Noah? The Darren Aronofsky.
That was better than I thought it would be, to be honest. Because I never watched it, but I really liked Mother. And I felt like I should go back because this is like the only Aronofsky movie I hadn't watched yet. And I was like, well, okay, what's his take on Noah's Ark? And I found it more interesting than I thought I would have. But at the same time, he's like, all the creatures in the movie, the animals and stuff, I was looking into trivia, they're all like new designs. They're not like actual what animals look like now. So they actually have like a lot of sci-fi stuff in it that I wasn't expecting. Like they literally have like these angels that have fallen down to earth that are encrusted in stone, that are like these stone golem creatures, and Noah's like working alongside those to make the ark. And it definitely falls more into like the fantastical element of how you could tell Noah's Ark story, I suppose, more so than how I'm sure the Bible actually tells the story, and I'm sure the movie pisses off a lot of people. But I mean, Russell Crowe's good. It's fine. It's rather long, but you kind of have to be along for the ride, I guess.
Cool.
Shot well.
Yeah. Nick, you watched Crazy Stupid Love with Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone. What do you think?
One of the best rom-coms of all time.
Whoa, that's high praise.
Oh, yeah, that is high praise. I think I enjoyed it. I think it went a bit too long. I really didn't like the ending. I thought it would have ended at the fight scene where nobody ended up happy. I don't know. It just when it came around to the cliche rom-com ending, I think it just fell down.
It's not a rom-com if it doesn't have a cliche ending, to be fair, I feel.
Well, it can be.
Well, then it's not a rom-com. It would be just like a drama or something.
Not necessarily. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Like, it's one of the better ones I've seen. I'm not ready to say it's the best one that I have seen. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It's watchable.
Yeah, it's very good. First pairing of Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, a winning combination.
Yeah, and Emma Stone into it up to a certain point was like, why is she even in this film? It's that twist I really enjoyed.
Yeah, that was a good twist. So I watched The House with a Clock in the Walls. The
Tell me it's good because I still
I
watched it.
wanted to go see that. Grandma
Eli
didn't
Roth-
really rate it.
It's not great. It's a perfectly fine children's film. Like there's nothing really standout-ish about it. It definitely looks like Goosebumps. Is the closest thing I can compare it to. It's got that sort of CGI sort of thing. Jack Black's good. Kate Blanchett's very good. There is a weird moment at the very, very end of the film that I don't want to spoil because it is just bizarre. But yeah, it's very different to what Eli Roth has done previously. Yeah. If you looked at his IMDb at all. But yeah, there's nothing too much to say about it, and I hadn't seen much written about it or talked about before, so not. Well,
the main reason I want to watch it is because I'm like, I just need to see what Eli Roth does with a non-R-rated movie.
That's true, yeah. But yeah, I think maybe younger kids would enjoy it more. I don't know. And it's got Sonny Sunhill, you know, the kid who plays Atreus in God of War.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So that was a bit. I'm like, oh, it's the boy.
I didn't know he was an actor.
Yeah, he's an actor. He's in Jonah Hill's film, mid-90s. It's either coming out or is coming out. I can't remember. Yeah. Dylan, you also watched a movie called Felony. What the hell is that?
Another Australian film that has Joel Edgerton, Jai Courtney, and what the fuck is that British? I'm gonna hold on. Give me 2 seconds. Can't find. Oh, Tom Wilkinson. Thank you. Tom Wilkinson is. I suppose they're like the three main actors. But the plot is Joel Edgerton, detective. They just come off doing a. I'm telling you the plot because I think it's a really good setup, but I don't think the movie like pulls it off well. But the setup's cool. His cop coming off, just pulling off a really great raid. He happens to get shot in the stomach. Luckily, he's wearing the bulletproof vest. So they're out that night, all celebrating, drinking, and then he goes to leave and drink drives home when he shouldn't have. But apparently, I don't know if this is based in like stuff that actually happens or a rumor that happens or something. But as he's leaving, like one of the cops is like, the passcode's this, and when he gets pulled over by the breath test cops, you know, he just tells them a secret code word, which basically says, I'm a detective, like leave me the fuck alone. And then on his way home, he's in his half drunken mess, he clips the side of a kid on a push bike who's delivering by newspapers with like his mirror, like doesn't hit him full on, but just the side mirror of his car, knocks him off. He pulls over, of course, calls the ambulance, all these sorts of things. And when the other two detectives show up, which is Jai Courtney and Tom Wilkinson's character, you know, talks to him, and they end up just being a bit like covering it up, you know. So then the rest of the movie is Joel Edgerton's character dealing with the guilt building up on him, and Jai Courtney still doesn't believe that Joel Edgerton's character actually told the truth, that he didn't do anything. So then you got Jai Courtney's character constantly pissing off Tom Wilkinson's character because he's trying to investigate him more and all these sorts of things. And it's a good premise, and all the actors in it are fine, but the script, I suppose, it falls down to the script. It just really doesn't end on it doesn't pull it together at the end. I feel for the themes it's trying to tell, and the build up of the whole movie, of the pressure building on Edgerton's character and all these sorts of things. It really just didn't have the ending to pull it all together. But I found it enjoyable, and I think all three of the actors in it are good.
Is it set in Australia?
Yeah, I think it's in like Melbourne.
That makes the title of the film so odd to me, because felony is not a term used in the Australian legal system at all. It's like it's been just named that for international appeal.
Yeah, most likely, yeah. It probably was most likely, yeah.
Cool. You also checked out a film called The Devil's Double?
Yeah, just watched that one. I watched that today. That was what the fuck is his name? I've literally just forgot it. What's his name? From Preacher.
Oh, Dominic.
Dominic Cooper.
Yeah, that's the one.
Dominic Cooper plays two characters. One is Saddam Hussein son,
And the other is Howard Stark.
yeah. But it's basically he's his son, and of course because they all need a
Look-alike.
a look-alike to help them not get shot and killed and all these sorts of things. I'm trying to find these actually. Uday Hussein is what his son the son's name, but he gets a look-alike. And that's the other character he plays, and then they do a little bit of body modification to him, give him, something to stick over his teeth so he looks a bit more like all these sorts of things. And basically, Uday Hussein is a complete fucking absolute psychopath. They've scenes in the movie. There's literally one scene in the movie where he's just like following home like a 14-year-old girl, and just like gets in the car and like wants to have sex with her and all. Like he's a mess. He's just shooting guns or wherever. He fucking like at dinner parties, just killing people, whatever. They show videos of him torturing. This is based in reality. I looked up after. I'm like, is that true? They were showing videos because apparently he was put in charge of like the Iraqi Olympic committee, I think is what it's called, something along those lines. And he would like torture sports people for not performing well enough. If they did bad and all these sorts of things. So he's a completely messed up character. And the movie's basically about how his body double hates the job he's been put in. He's forced there because, of course, it's like, well, if you don't do this, I'll kill your family. So you're basically forced into doing this. And it's the slow build-up and eventual downfall of their relationship. It's not a great movie. It definitely doesn't have a little bit too much liberties, I suppose, when it's based on true events, a little bit too much liberties with telling the actual story, I suppose. And at times it seems a bit more like it's trying to glamorize it a bit more than I personally like when you're trying to show evil characters. It's like, look how cool this is. It's like, well, like he's a fucking evil person, so maybe don't do that. But Dominic Cooper is pretty good in the movie, and I'm always impressed when an actor can play two roles next to one another, and he's had to film them, with a body double or whatever, and it literally just does come across like two different people, like because he plays them both so different. And then the one who's the double has to at times, because he's pretending to be him, and like put on the accent and talk more like you say, and then he would like switch back to how he actually talks, and it's like flick on and off. So yeah, it was a fun movie, not a great movie.
Like The Nutty Professor.
Yeah, exactly like The Nutty Professor.
Sounds like it. Nick, you watched Cavalry?
Yes, Brendan Gleeson. Yep.
Brendan, yep.
Yeah. It was
You
a film.
got really excited about Brendan Gleeson, and then the film sunk in.
No, because I was looking at my 2019 year in review, and it had said I'd watched two Brendan Gleeson movies, and I was like, one was Paddington 2. What the fuck was the other one? And that just sparked my memory. Yeah, it also has Chris O'Dowd from the IT Crowd, and the guy that plays Littlefinger in Game of Thrones. Yeah, it was fine. It was about a priest that gets told he's going to get killed in a week, not because by some guy that was diddled as a kid, but not because he was a bad priest, but because he was innocent, and so it caused a bigger wave and stuff. And it's just him trying to get his affairs in order and deal with it in a week. I mean, it was touted as a black comedy, but I didn't get much humor out of it. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really recommend seeing this film.
Okay. And Dylan, you also watched a film called Horns with Daniel Radcliffe.
I was keen to see this.
It's a weird movie. It
certainly is.
A very weird movie. I'm not sure if I didn't love it, but I really can't tell if I hated it or it was okay. Because by the end, I'm like, it just felt a bit too pretentious.
Okay.
Which I was just like, I don't really know what you're trying to say here, or like what the point of all this is. And we've gone really fucking weird with the plot at this point. So I'm really trying to figure out what the hell you're actually trying to say of how weird the plot's gone. Yeah, because if you don't know, the setup is this. Daniel Radcliffe's the boyfriend of this girl. The girl is found murdered. Everyone in the town assumes it was is saying it's him, like picketing outside his house, saying murderer, murderer. He cops haven't arrested him or anything yet because there's no evidence, but everyone's just assuming it's him for whatever reason. And then he wakes up one morning and he's got horns growing out of his head. But what makes it even weirder is, so for example, the first person he goes to show these horns to, and they get bigger throughout the movie, is a doctor. And whenever people look at the horns, they just like tell him what they're thinking, like their deepest, darkest secrets are. So like goes to the doctor, it's like, how can you fix these? And he's like, I really want to fuck my assistant so bad. Like, can you pay attention to my horns? And like all these sorts of things, like goes to his family, like, hey mum, I wish he wasn't my son. Like shit, like deepest, darkest
fucked up
stuff.
Which, the most fucked up stuff.
Makes for some really weird but entertaining scenes at times.
So I checked out The Orville. Pretty much it's Seth MacFarlane wanted to make a Star Trek TV series, but he couldn't get the rights to a Star Trek TV series, so he just made The Orville. It's just fun, disposable network television. So Seth MacFarlane plays the captain of the USS Orville. Adrian Palicki's also in it as his ex-wife, also his assistant. No, his second in command, which creates all sorts of fun tension. But yeah, there's a bunch of other fun characters throughout the series. I think I binge watched all 16 episodes that are available so far. Yeah, if you like Star Trek and you want just a little bit funnier, I guess it's not like it's not super comedic, which I sort of was expecting. Obviously coming from Seth MacFarlane, but yeah, it's just a pretty standard science fiction Star Trek-ish TV series.
Yeah, I had only heard about it from Frank Garman on his podcasts that he was in it, but I'm glad that I've heard you speak about it now that I probably won't go check it out.
I know. It's on SBS if you want to check it out, so it's pretty good. Dylan, you've checked out the first few episodes of True Detective Season 3. Is it closer to Season 1 or is it closer to Season 2?
It's way closer to Season 1 and I'm enjoying it so far. So there's 4 episodes out, but I've only watched 3. I haven't watched the current one yet. But first 2 episodes, which they aired back to back, which I found interesting because there's only 8 episodes and they just chucked episode 1, 2 out the gate straight away, back to back. They were really, really good. Episode 3, not bad, but episode 3 was less eventful, I'd say. So I'm intrigued to get back into episode 4 because that's like the midway point. So I'm assuming things will pick up. But I really didn't enjoy season 2, and I stopped after like 3 episodes, I think. So
really,
the fact that
you must have been the only one.
No, I think I stopped after 3 episodes. So the fact I'm looking forward to like watching episode 4 should say enough as it is. But just thematically, it's a lot more in line with season 1. And the way the story is being told is more in line with season 1 because you have it. So the main murder point or like the storyline is happening in the like late 60s or 70s or something along those lines. And that's one timeline. Then there's another timeline happening in the 90s where the case is kind of reopened because new evidence comes into light. And then there's like the current timeline, which is like 2018 or something like that, when the character's really old and being interviewed for like a news story, like current affair type things in their house, interviewing about them. And all 3 storylines are flashing back, forward, sideways, however you want to look at it. And they're being told at the same time, but it's being told smartly because you'll get details in like the 90s that tells you stuff about what's going to happen in the 70s, but not enough to kind of spoil it, but enough to make you go, well, that's going to happen soon. When are we going to get to that, I suppose? Like, how are we going to get to that? And then there's stuff that they talk about in like the 2018 timeline or whatever it was that's going to happen in the 90s that you don't see happen yet. But I'm quite enjoying the way the plot's being interwoven, and the characters are definitely nothing like... There's one thing, I saw one review where they're like, oh, they're just trying to recreate the characters of Russ and Cole from season 1. And I'm like, you're insane. The 2 main detectives in this are nothing like Russ and Cole at all. They're not... Yeah, Russ and Cole are their own characters and they're very memorable, and you could never recreate those characters, I don't think. But the 2 new detectives, which has been played by I will fuck up his name. Was it
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, I was trying to remember it. Didn't go too well. And then the other person has been playing by someone who I cannot fucking remember. Stephen Dorff. Okay, Stephen Dorff is playing the other main detective, and they're both really, really great as partners. But they're definitely no Matthew McConaughey. So I'm enjoying it. It's dark. I have no idea if it's going to go as weird as the first season, but I'm on board for the ride.
Cool. So I watched the new YouTube Premium TV series Wayne. I think I saw a trailer back in December or something like that. I did a trailer review.
I was about to say, didn't you write about this trailer?
Yeah, I wrote about the trailer a while back. I freaking love this show. It's so pretty much the premise is Wayne is like a justice warrior, I guess. Like he has his certain set of rules for what's right and wrong, and like he is violent. If you mistreat somebody, he'll beat the shit out of you pretty much, or attempt to beat the shit out of you is probably more accurate. And in the first episode, his father dies, but before he dies, he tells him about this car that he wanted to hand down to him, but his mother stole it when she ran away with some other guy. So after he dies, he burns down their house and decides to go try and find this car in Florida. So they start off in Boston, so that's a bunch of Boston accents, which is really, I don't know. I feel like Boston accents as an Australian is fun to listen to.
Yeah, I love Boston accents.
Yeah. Also, at the beginning of the episode, he meets this girl called Dell, who he just suddenly asked to be his girlfriend, and she's having trouble at home with her dad, who's a bit abusive and that sort of thing, and so he kidnaps her in quotation marks, and they escape together on a dirt bike down to Florida, and all sorts of shenanigans ensue. All sorts of different people are trying to get to Wayne. His high school principal is trying to get to him. An odd couple of detectives, one who's like a really zen sort of dude, the other one who's trying to get his food Instagram game up. and then Dell's father, played by Dean Winters, who you might know from 30 Rock or Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and her twin brothers, who are constantly bickering and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's just a great show. Hopefully I'll have a review up on explosionnetwork.com soon. But yeah, definitely check it out. The first episode is free on YouTube to watch. So yeah. And if I'm pretty sure YouTube Premium's coming to an end soon, so you might be able to see the whole thing for free soon with ads. But definitely check it out because I desperately want a season 2. They've been hinting. The creator came out and sort of hinted at what he wants to do next. It sounds great. Dylan, you've watched a couple of things that have made me very, very happy. The first off, you watched The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, the rest of it.
Yep. Fantastic show. It would have changed my top 10 list if I'd caught up on time, but you know, that's how these things go. Written really well. Everyone in that show is fantastic. Tony Shalhoub, is it Shalhoub? Shalhoub? I'm sorry. Once again. It's like probably the best thing he's ever done. I think it's actually the best thing he's ever done. There's that one scene, and this is, I mean, it's not a major spoiler, but there's one scene that made me laugh out loud so hard, which is when Mrs. Maisel gets a job, and then she tells him, and then he keeps coming back into the room over and over and over again, just like, you have to get up, and she's like, yeah, and then he'll leave the room, and then like 2 seconds later, and they're paying you? Yes, Dad. Leaves the room, comes back in money. But just the way he pulls that scene off and like everything about it is absolute fantastic. Yeah. Great show. Love everything about it. Everyone should watch that show.
Yep. Available on Amazon Prime. But now we have to move into the mandatory Netflix segment. Because the other show that you've caught up on that made me very happy is you finally watched The Good Place. What'd you think?
Fantastic show. I should have watched this ages ago. I mean, yeah, it's a great show. I don't know. every time I kept hearing you say stuff like, I don't know how they keep doing another season. I understand this now because it is kind of like a thing at the end of each season. It's kind of like, you're like, where are they going with this? And then they somehow managed to pull off a really smart plot point. Like, for example, obviously the third season just finished, yeah. And like how they finished that one, I was like, that whole season, I'm like, how are they going to end this? Like, is this the last season? Are they just going to wrap it up now? But the way they end this season, the latest one, I'm again like that. It doesn't feel like they're extending it like half-assed. It just does feel like naturally it makes sense for the plot and like what's happening. But yeah, that show's really funny. Everyone in that show's fantastic. I pretty much binged the fuck out of it until I caught up, and then I watched like the last 3 episodes of this season, week by week. So yeah, that's great. I would still cancel it for Veronica Mars. I'm sorry. Great show, but not as good as Veronica.
Have you caught up on to the end of the season, Nick?
No, I've still got the last episode to watch.
Okay, just be prepared because that last episode, it broke me. Yeah,
it broke you.
We all cried.
We all cry.
We all cry.
I don't cry often.
You will.
We all cry. Everyone cries in the finale.
Yeah, but yeah, Good Place, so good. You should also check out the Good Place podcast, especially the last episode after watching the season finale, because they talk about decisions and how they sort of came together, and sort of maybe there's more meaning to certain things that there actually is. But yeah,
but listen to this podcast more than that podcast.
I'd also like to say the show introduced me to, what's her name? Jamila. No. Jamila Jamil or Jill or whatever her name is.
Tahani's
plays
actress.
Tahani.
The lady who plays
anyway, this show that introduced me to her, and as a person, I'm finding her fucking hilarious. I'm now following her on Twitter.
She's great. Yeah. She's great and everything. So I believe we all watched the Fyre Festival documentary, Fyre.
We did.
I think everyone in the world did.
Everyone did, yeah. Because let's face it, it was a shit show, and we all went all were following it on Twitter and everything as it.
Apparently, there was 2 competing documentaries. There's another one on Hulu that I don't think we have access to, which actually has the guy who organised it interviewed on it as well.
Yes. So with that one, apparently they paid him to be interviewed as part of the documentary, whereas this one was a lot of the footage was taken by the creative team that was promoting the event, I believe. Yeah. I just found this super riveting. I don't know about you guys, but I guess because of all the footage they just had, be able to see from the very start of what was happening to very much the end. Just seeing how this person was able to manipulate a bunch of people to do something, and then everything sort of going to shit, and then no one having the guts to pull out and sort of stop.
The absolute criminal neglect. Like, I don't know how in his mind he thought going forward was better than just cancelling it altogether. It's just... And obviously he's paying for the price for that now, but it's just mind-boggling.
This documentary legit gave me a panic attack.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, and I was trying to work out what it is, and I think it is just something to do with the fact that so many people paid for this, and like would look like the website looked legit. Not I don't know, something about it set me off though. That by the time it finished, I was in a state of panic, and I wanted to go to sleep, but I had to watch something else to calm myself down. Is how much this stressed me out. And I thought I was insane until I've seen other people on Twitter say similar things, like about this stressing them out and all these sorts of things, having to watch something else afterwards. But yeah, I can't like pinpoint what it is exactly, but I definitely do feel like it's something about just feeling it's so fucked up that people could get fucked that hard and easy, and it could happen to me. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's the thing of like that could happen to me. I'm not the type of person that would pay to go to that sort of thing, but it's a simple fact of it could be something else.
No,
but
how easily you can be scammed into something.
Yeah, it's so easy to get scammed. But yeah,
although to be fair, they had good intentions, but there was no way they ever had the resources to pull off what
did
they
have
promised.
Good intentions? They were just trying to make money.
I think everybody except Billy McFarland, all the people they hired,
and Ja Rule.
Yeah, and Ja Rule.
Freaking seeing Ja Rule involved in this is the weirdest thing, I think, considering he's barely been seen in the music industry for the last decade or two.
This is his
in my opinion.
This is why he wanted to create an app that he can be booked directly.
Yeah, so people can book me easier.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this whole
great documentary, but it was basically a horror movie to watch, I feel.
Yeah, it was kind of was, especially seeing the footage of them getting to the festival.
Yeah,
and seeing the
tents,
shit. And then hearing people freaking, oh, we went and urinated at a bunch of other tents so nobody would be around us.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's freaking mental. The best thing to come out of this documentary, of course, is that they are the Marianne Roll character person who was running the restaurant. People have been doing a GoFundMe campaign that has helped her to recover a lot of the funds she lost from.
Oh, good. I felt really
should do a GoFundMe fucking campaign for all the workers that never got paid.
I think people are working on that. It's just trying to find the right person to handle all the... Because everybody in that region got screwed, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Philly McBarland will take up that.
The thing is, like, if this had been a legit thing and everything had gone smoothly, it would have been really good, like... It would have been a really great thing because a lot of people would have, like, tourism and all those people would have got paid and it would have been, like, jobs for everyone for this amount of time. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so funny. You can look at it and go, well, if everything was done well and right and whatever else, this actually could have been a really positive thing for a community. So
I think the artists are also semi-culpable because they had the social platform and status too, because they obviously had known what was going on to pull out at that stage. They should have.
No, they weren't. They didn't find out till very close to the event actually happening.
Even still, like when you find out that this is going on, for me, like I would go.
I imagine artists
this
like
is
that,
not
they
on.
don't get there till the day of performing. I mean, so.
But Blink had cancelled earlier. Like they could have easily put out.
I think they cancelled after people had started arriving on the island, from what I could tell from the documentary. So I don't know.
Or maybe I'm remembering incorrectly.
I think one certain type of people to blame is influencers. So older models, your Emily Ratajkowski's or however you say.
But again, they were getting played as well. They didn't know to what degree.
I don't like put full blame on them because they didn't like.
They were hired to
They didn't do it on purpose anyway. You know, they didn't go out to fuck people over, and they didn't know it was going to turn out the way it did. But like, much like a lot of other things,
it's the same argument as like, how much responsibility does someone like PewDiePie have playing a short snippet of a guy on a montage of videos who is alt-right or Nazi or something? Like, it's the same kind of responsibility. And
I think that the answer, I stand on the ground where if you're promoting someone or you're promoting something, that it's your due, like you owe everyone your due diligence as like knowing how big your platform is to look into these sorts of things. And the example you're giving PewDiePie, I hadn't like fuck PewDiePie, and I'm full on like fuck PewDiePie and fuck the shit he's doing, and like it's like, oh, I didn't know. Well, you should fucking look into it. And it's the same as all these people. Like I don't like Emily Ratajkowski and whoever, like the Kylie Jenner was it, and a bunch of fucking moles. Like I don't hold it against them because they're like dumb in this instance, and like this was many years ago at this point.
Not so
Naive.
much dumb, they're more negligent.
Yeah, then negligence, but it does bring to that argument that we are having a lot these days. It's like, what do these sorts of people, these content creators, these influencers, these, they're all in the same sort of grounds. Like, what do they owe it to their audiences to actually look into these sorts of things? And I think the answer is more than we're letting them get away with.
One good thing to come out of it is that laws had changed, that now they have to make it clear that it's a paid advertisement.
Yeah.
Definitely worth watch.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So I checked out the DC Universe TV series that finally came to Netflix, Titans. It is
Batman.
It's uneven. Yeah. It's just kind of
Ash. You're selling me. You're selling me. I'm sold. I want to watch it.
It's very unfocused, I feel like. Like they introduce a couple of characters in the couple of the Titans in the first episode, and then Hawk and Dove, then Jason Todd, then Doom Patrol, then Donna Troy. They don't focus enough on the core cast that you've led to believe is
how's
the core.
the last episode with spoilers Batman?
It is a good, solid episode. I mean,
Because
in the context,
I remember watching the trailer, being like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who wants to go see it, so it's hard to discuss it. Because I'll just say it's like an alternate reality.
Yeah,
I have a friend that's a hardcore DC fanboy, and he really loved it, and he said it's the best thing that DC's done on film for a while. So
I didn't say that.
no, I have more friends than currently present.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah,
Yeah,
so
I don't-
there's that going for it, I guess.
There's just different things that kind of annoy me. Like Beast Boy, he never changes into anything but a tiger.
Oh, so he's Tiger Boy.
He's just Tiger Boy. I mean, what's the point of being called? And there was the cringiest scene I think I've seen in any superhero thing where they're like,
Not fuck Batman?
no, let's all show each other our powers.
You show
You're
me
like,
mine, I'll
really?
show you yours.
How do you do? Yeah, and they're just all trying to show each other what they can do and that sort of thing. I don't know. But then there's certain stuff that's done really well. There is an episode towards the end of the season where they focus on Hawk and Dove, like go into the past and sort of go through how they became Hawk and Dove. That's really powerful, I think, and is a really good episode on its own. But yeah, I don't know. It's super uneven. Although I definitely want to see season 2 because they ended on an interesting note. Yeah. And there's a certain character probably coming in season 2 that I want to see. So, Titans. I also checked out Carmen Sandiego, the new animated series on Netflix. It is definitely a children's educational show. After the first 2 episodes, which is sort of like an origin story of Carmen Sandiego, they have like an info dump about a certain geological place they're going to. It's like they have an episode in Australia, and they're like, oh, at the center of Australia, there's a place called Uluru. Just a geography lesson in the middle of each episode. Yeah, it's a fun time. I mean, Gina Rodriguez plays Carmen Sandiego. She's pretty good. They are pivoting her, in the games and stuff, she's like the full-on villain stealing stuff. Whereas in this, she's sort of Robin Hood. She's not stealing from like people who are good in that. She's stealing from people who are villains. So, like, they're trying to make her a bit better than, obviously being a children's show, they want to portray her in a better light. Yeah, it's a fun thing to just watch. Probably like in the background, but I think kids would probably like it a bit more. Yeah, I like the animation style as well. Yeah, it looks cool. And Finn Harwood from Stranger Things, he voices a character. Yeah,
I'm just waiting for
cool.
a Magic School Bus remake.
It's coming
Oh, good.
with a different Miss Frizzle, but Kate McKinnon's going to be playing the new Miss Frizzle. So Dylan, you watched season 2 of Dear White People?
Yep, finally caught up on that.
Yeah.
I enjoy that show. I like all the characters in it. I like the way they tell it. I mean, it's pretty old at this point, I suppose. It's at the stage where I'm like, season 3 is hopefully starting soon because they leave it on like a decent cliffhanger, and they've already announced that season 3 is coming. So I'm waiting for that to come out soon because I'm pretty sure season 2 actually started like early last year and only just bothered finishing it. But yeah, that show's really good. A lot of people just don't like it because of the title and they're easily upset, but it's a really enjoyable show.
Cool. You also checked out Trigger Warning with Killer Mike. What on earth is that?
Show. That's a show. I mean, I really don't. So Killer Mike is one of the dudes from Run the Jewels, the rap duo. And Killer Mike, if you don't know anything about him, has always been a very outspoken individual. Someone who says a lot of stuff that I don't agree with, a lot of stuff that I do agree with, but he's certainly always
saying stuff
is one way to put it. So when I knew when I saw a trailer for this show and it was just going to be him, like just 6 episodes or whatever it is of half-hour show of him tackling a different viewpoint and idea of his each episode. I was like, this is going to be entertaining nonetheless, and that's definitely one way to put it. The episodes are very hit or miss. I think the best episode is one where he kind of does have a good point. He's like, because a lot of what he delves into obviously is like racism in America and these sorts of things that are relevant to him, obviously. And in the episode, he's like, the Hells Angels or whatever the fuck they're called, the biker gang. He's like, what? And it's the first time he said it. He's like, that is white gang privilege. I was like, what is this on about? He's like, you can go. He's like, they're a gang that do illegal shit, but for some reason, you can go on fucking Amazon and buy Hells Angels hat, shirt. He's like, they're a corporation that have set up a business to help legally fund their criminal enterprise and like kind of make them legit and all these sorts of things. But he's like, they're a gang. They're a white people biker gang. He's like, so why the fuck can't black people gangs have their own shit set up? So he goes and goes over to the Crips, gets a bunch of the Crips, and he's like, we're gonna make a product, and what they end up making is Cripa-Cola. But he sells it. He was even on one, I can't remember, like one late night show, Jimmy Fallon or someone, like he brings on a bottle there and he's talking all about it. So it's apparently it's a real thing at some point. But I mean, yeah, they make this cola half-assed like thing. They bring in one dude, he makes this logo for him. And there's one part like where he's talking to the camera, he's like, yeah, no, this is my first time working with a gang. And he's like got the weirdest smile of like, no one hurt me, please. Like, but so that episode is really interesting, and at the same time, it was just one of those episodes where the premise, I was like, he is right. Like the Hells Angels, yeah, everyone looks at, because they get like what's it called, a focus group room or whatever, like 8 to 10 people, and they get them all to try this cola without the brand on it or whatever, and everyone's like, yeah, this tastes all right, this is all right, like it's it's no Pepsi, it's no Coke, it's somewhere in there, but it's fine. And then they reveal what it's called, and they say, it's Cripa-Cola made by the Crips and stuff, and of course everyone in the room all of a sudden is like, no, fuck that, like we wouldn't buy that shit to help support their gang and all these sorts of stuff. And then Killer Mike comes into the room and begins talking to them about like how, yes, they do bad stuff, but like when it comes down to it, this and this, and then they get the gang members to actually come in and talk to everyone and meet everyone. It's just it's interesting. Some of the episodes are poor. Like the last episode I feel was bad, and even the one before that was quite weird, but it's hit and miss, but definitely entertaining nonetheless.
Nick, you've watched the first couple of episodes of the new season of The Punisher.
I have.
How are you feeling about it? I see you've only watched a couple of episodes.
Yeah,
so.
It's not because, well, it's not as good as the first season so far, but that's not the reason why I'd stopped watching it. It's life got in the way, but I don't like the direction they're taking the character in. It just feels very unpunisher to the Punisher that I know from the comics. It almost has a feeling about it of a kind of supernatural type quality to it. Like I thought that serial, I guess, Monster of the Week type feel to it, like a Supernatural or a CW show or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. So far, it's not as good.
Who's the villain?
I'm pretty sure it's there's
Is it Jigsaw or someone?
Well, Jigsaw, yeah, which spoilers is also kind of like the main antagonist from the last season. That was pre-Jigsaw. This is after he's sustained his injuries. But there's also a subplot of kind of like a white religious extremist kind of weirdo type villain. Like, I think they were trying to cash in on all the Trump's America type of drama kind of stuff, but it's just not hitting home for me. Yeah, I don't know. The quality of the season so far is not as good. I mean, I'll watch it to the end because I like the character, but I don't know. I won't be upset when it eventually gets canned after this.
Well, apparently
they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've heard some of the numbers have seen a sharp drop off.
Yeah, I don't understand why they went in this direction, to be honest. Like, it's just unpunisher.
All right. So I watched a TV series called Sex Education. It's really good. It follows the story of a guy called Otis in high school. I think it's Britain. It's really hard to tell because the school doesn't look like a British show, but everybody speaks with a British accent, and it doesn't look like anywhere in Britain. It's like
you've been older the schools.
Yeah, like they're like, you know how they're like us, where we have to wear uniforms and that stuff over in Britain, but everybody's in like Letterman jackets and free dress. So I don't know. It's odd.
Must be Scotland. Maybe.
But he plays the son of a sex therapist, played by Gillian Anderson, who's really good. Through a series of events, he ends up becoming a sex therapist to other teenagers in his class as a way to make money. He's working with this girl called Maeve. It's just really good. Again, it is definitely on the high end of the rating scale. There is a bunch of sex scenes. Pretty much it opens with the sex scene in which ends with the school bully, Adam, faking an orgasm because he can't. He's having sex problems and can't orgasm. So if that sounds like something interesting, but no, there's more heartfelt moments, and there's a storyline with his best friend Eric, who's openly gay and sort of struggling with that, and there's certain events that sort of happen. It's only like 8 episodes, so it's not like a terrible investment of your time. Also, the soundtrack is really, really good. A guy called Ezra... what's the name? No, not Ezra Miller. Ezra Furman. He does a bunch of songs on the soundtrack, including some stuff that's been unreleased, which is really annoying because I want to listen to it again out of the episode. But yeah, definitely check out Sex Education, but don't watch it with your parents.
Or do watch it with your parents, you know.
What if your parent is a sex therapist?
Well, I guess. I just feel like it would be an
It's on my list. I basically just want... the reason I jumped it on my list straight away is because I saw Gillian Anderson was in it. So I'm like, cool, add the list.
Yeah. And Asa Butterfield plays Otis. He's really good in it as well. So very different to the child performances or the like really serious stuff we've seen him in recently. So, Dylan, you caught up on Glow season 2. How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, it was good. It was better than the first season. I like the way they take all the characters. I don't know how I feel about the ending though. Like kind of where I'm not. I know you've previously said that you're intrigued or whatever by the way they're going to take the third season, but I'm kind of like, I'm worried that like changing the setting. I'm trying to dodge spoilers, obviously, but I'm worried that changing the setting a bit too much might take away from some of the dynamics and stuff. But we'll see. Either way, I felt like the second season was definitely a lot stronger than the first, simply because everyone's like all the characters were kind of set up in the first season, and in the second season they got to just do some more stuff with the characters having them already set up and being able to like chuck them at each other and do interesting things.
Cool. You also watched a few episodes of Conversation with the Killer, the Ted Bundy tapes.
No, I finished it. There's only 4 episodes.
Oh, there was only 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only 4. I don't think it's very good. And I know that like everyone on the internet has been raving about it for whatever reason, as if it's the second homecoming of the best fucking serial killer documentary since whatever. But yeah, I definitely don't think it's very good. It's like subtitle whatever is the Ted Bundy tapes or whatever. It's really not much to do with the tapes at all, and they barely use much off the tapes. They have some interviews with the journalist who recorded said tapes, and then at the same time, I wouldn't say they glamorize Ted Bundy, but they do seem to like focus and make a thing about like hang too much on like, oh, he was good looking, he was, and it doesn't. It's like, okay, we get it, but then it's like it's a through factor of the whole thing, and it comes off weird by the final episode. Of I definitely don't feel like they nailed in the fact of, hey, he killed like 30 people or whatever the final count was. And by the end of it, I just don't feel like the director, who oddly enough is the same director who's doing that Zac Efron movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
It's the exact same director. I definitely feel like he has more of a relationship with Ted Bundy, as like he's interested with Ted Bundy, and he's more interested from the factor of him being this good looking, chivalrous character more so than a dark, evil, completely fucked up, really, really fucked up character. Like, not just the fact he killed so many people, but the way he would kill them, rape them, fucking, like, necrophilia he admitted to doing by the end of it. Like, underage girl, like, at least one of that we know that
pedophilia.
Like, he's necrophilia and everything. So he's a really, really fucked up character, and I don't feel like this documentary does a good enough job of painting him as he was, and does focus a little bit too much on the character of Ted Bundy, which, yeah, he was in court and he would come across likable and all these sorts of things. But I do feel like you're allowed to show that because that is part of the story. But I do feel like the documentary focuses too much on that factor. And knowing that's the same documentary, the same director that's doing that Zac Efron thing, which I watched the trailer for today, and I was like, this is fucking disgusting how much this trailer has really happy-go-lucky music, and it's like, oh, look, it's a fun old time. Ted Bundy, Zac Efron, like, he's really good looking because Ted Bundy, everyone thought he was too good looking to be a serial killer. I'm like, I get it, but it makes me even more worried about that movie because I definitely feel like this director has a attachment to Bundy as more of a character and is kind of just dislodge the fact of how fucked up he was, and we shouldn't be painting that as a thing, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, cool. I watched the final season of a series of unfortunate events, season 3. It is more of the same. I felt I really enjoyed it. It's really, really good. Again, I could just hear Patrick Warburton spout lines as Lemony Snicket all day, every day. I think it's a brilliant role for him. It just built up and sort of worked perfectly, and then the final episode just didn't hit me the way I wanted to. I think I just wanted too many answers answered, and not all of them were. I felt
this is the final season, right?
This is the final season, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you've invested in watching the first 2 seasons, I think it's worthwhile. It's definitely worthwhile sticking it out and seeing the rest of it. I think the episode's called The Penultimates. Penultimate Peril is probably the best of season.
Is that the second last episode?
The 5th and 6th episodes, yeah. Yeah, they're really, really good. Again, Neil Patrick Harris is doing a friggin' incredible job. And the other thing is, don't skip the credits, because apparently the song changes every single episode that they sing at the beginning.
Beginner's tip.
Yeah. You're missing things, but yeah. Yeah, it's pretty great. And I also watched the Taylor Swift Reputation Stadium Tour special thing. I'm not a huge Taylor Swift fan. I haven't listened to her last few albums, but it production-wise is very, very impressive. I mean, she does a good show. And, you know, she seems genuine when she's talking to the audience and that sort of thing.
Don't worry, Ash. I'm going to watch it as well. I just haven't yet.
Haven't yet? Yeah.
Fuck you and your Bruce Springsteen over there.
Yeah, did you end up finishing that, Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah?
You
still loved it?
Yeah.
Still really good? I'd have to check that out, but yeah. Yeah, it was good. It was a good show. She does some acoustic stuff and then some big... It's a crazy set. I mean, she friggin' goes around on a wire thing so she can be at different points around the stadium. So yeah. Really impressive. Even to be shot is really impressive because they must have shot it they think they only played at the stadium. They did it 2 nights. So they would have had to film it over the 2 nights, I think. But yeah. That is, surprisingly, everything we've watched. So we can sort of move into the news segments. Pretty much the biggest news is the Academy Award nominations have come out. And they've been divisive, to say the least. So the films that have been nominated for Best Picture are Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favourite, Green Book, Roma, A Star is Born, and Vice.
Is this the first instance of a film like Black Panther being nominated?
So yes, this is the first superhero film to ever be nominated, 10 years after The Dark Knight was snubbed. So yeah, that's a cool moment. But a lot of people are saying this is the worst batch of Best Picture nominated films in the last couple of decades. You look at Bohemian Rhapsody and Vice; they've both gotten below 64% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is
Dylan,
the
what do you think of
lowest
Rotten
in the
Tomatoes?
last decade.
Yeah.
Dylan,
What?
So, what do you think of Rotten Tomatoes?
What do I think of Rotten
as a
Tomatoes?
metric?
As a metric, I don't really fucking care. I don't really look at their metric, to be honest.
Exactly. It doesn't matter, Ashley.
but in general, every single critic I've pretty much seen has been down on Bohemian Rhapsody, Vice, and Green Book, and is surprised that they're
The thing
all
with
being
Bohemian
nominated.
Rhapsody is it's got pulled from other, like I can't remember the name of it, but it got pulled from something the other day because of singers' recent more allegations against him came out after the Academy Award nominees went up. So I think the problem with that film that I have, that a lot of people have, and I'm on the side of, should we be nominating movies where someone, not the gaffer, not the fucking person serving the food, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a small person, but where the director,
the credited director.
Yeah, well, he directed like 70% of it apparently. So, I mean, and the other dude didn't even get credited as co-director or anything like that because I like he came in, did the last 30% and did the editing work. Sure. I get it. It's definitely a conversation that's worth having for a lot of people, and I would hope that the Academy had it and decided, no, we should still nominate it because we should look past the people stuff. But of course, I've said this a million times, I can't separate art from artist, especially when it's like this prominent. And I am definitely on the side of, hey, maybe don't nominate films where the person who is the credited director or the main actor or anything like that in such a prominent role is currently just getting fucking child molestation and whatever else fucking chucked at their face. Like, I don't think it's good looks. That's my problem with Bohemian Rhapsody as a nomination.
I don't have a problem with it because what about everybody else that worked on it? Like, why should they be held accountable for what one person has done? Why should they not be recognised?
Yeah, do you have a problem with
That
Rami
is-
Malek being nominated for
No.
his role?
No.
Yeah.
My problem comes with Best Picture, where I feel like the director has such a high part of winning Best Picture. So, yeah, and I get what you're saying. Like, other people get fucked over because of one person's. It sounds like such a fucking, like, you got a traffic ticket to put it that way. Like, one person's small mistakes, but. Yeah, him getting nominated for Best Actor, I feel like because it's just focusing on his performance in the movie, and even the movie winning like Best Writing or whatever else. But I do feel like Best Picture is so tied to Best Director in my eye, and like because it's the overall thing.
So I'm assuming you weren't happy with him winning at the Golden Globes.
No,
And it was a super awkward thing as well because everybody
and
was obviously
Rami
asking
Malek's
about
up there just ignoring his name, and it's like it's so weird when someone accepts an award like that and then they just don't thank the director at all, don't even mention the director. It's really weird. Everyone backstage, if anyone says Brian's name, they just walk past them, ignore them, like, you know, let's just talk about the movie. It's really weird. I think a lot of this could be saved by just not nominating the movie. That's my 2 cents on it, but I definitely feel like it's a conversation worth happening because it is. Like, that's what I'm saying. He didn't get a traffic ticket, and it's like, should you keep awarding stuff? Like in the world where Harvey Weinstein, you know, it's Hollywood is keeping these people's platforms up, and I do feel like if for instance, I don't think it will win. It has no shot in the world of winning. I don't think. But for example, Bohemian Rhapsody wins Best Picture. What you can say what you want about it, but that is still helping keep the platform up for shitty people in Hollywood. That is still part of the problem. You're still saying it's okay to a degree. I feel so.
Yeah, it's an interesting debate. But honestly, like you said, it probably isn't going to win because it wasn't one of the ones that had a Best Director nomination. And in the history of the Academy Awards, there's only been 4 films that have won without a director nomination. Yeah. So the Best Director nominees are Spike Lee for BlacKkKlansman, Powell...
First nom.
Yeah, surprisingly. Yeah. Powell Polinsky, I think, for Cold War, Yorick Yorgos Lanthimos for The Favourite, Alfonso Cuarón for Roma, and Adam McKay for Vice, which is impressive. 2 of those films, foreign films.
Also nominated for best foreign film as well. Like,
yeah.
Best
and
picture
Roma up
director.
for Best Picture as well, which I don't think I've seen many foreign films up for Best Picture as well.
No.
So.
Yeah, it's interesting. A Netflix film that's up for best foreign film and best picture.
And best director.
Yeah, and best director. Yeah.
I mean,
Look, from all of the movies I've watched, by the way, out of the best picture noms, I was really happy to see Black Panther in there, obviously, because love that movie. But out of all the ones I've seen, Roma is, of course, going to be my pick because I really, really love Roma.
Roma did sweep up at the Critics' Choice Awards. They won Best Picture and Best Director, and I think Best Cinematography as well, yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if Roma picks it up, which would be a huge win for Netflix. Because apparently they've spent a lot of money pushing for Roma this year.
Netflix also finally got brought in as part of the
they're
Netflix.
as the Motion
Pictures Guild.
whatever the name of the thing is. Yeah. Were there any snubs that you were particularly aggrieved by?
Toni Collette, Hereditary. No Best Actress nomination. The biggest fucking bullshit thing of the Academy Awards for 2019. There's nothing else that matters. Toni Collette wasn't nominated. Absolute fucking outrage.
For the director's snubs that we were just talking about, I saw outrage for Bradley Cooper, but then I don't really think he deserved to be there either.
Yeah. Obviously, like you said, Toni Collette, I think Emma Blunt was probably a bit stiff not to get nominated for one of her films. I've heard a lot of people getting upset that First Reformed wasn't nominated for anything. And just in general, anything for any females in creative roles. There were a bunch of greatly female-directed films this year that didn't get any love.
And they nominate Bohemian Rhapsody for Best Picture instead. This is what I'm talking about. Get rid of Bohemian. Yeah. Don't even get me started.
Next episode, we'll be giving our predictions for the 91st Academy Awards. But until then, the 2019 Razzie Award nominees came out as well.
I haven't even seen these, actually.
You haven't seen these?
No.
Okay, hang on. So, nominated for Worst Film. And let's be fair, it's subjective. It's weird, because there are way more terrible films that are probably made that just never see the light of day. But, or just don't see seen as much as these films are. But the nominees for Worst Picture are Goatee, The Happy Time Murders, Holmes and Watson, Robin Hood, and Winchester.
I proudly can say I have not watched any of those movies.
Same.
I thought one of us had seen Robin Hood.
Nope.
Yeah.
I didn't even
We watched
know
the trailer and
Yeah,
we
we
Nash
watched
did
the
a reacts, and which at some point I started laughing out loudly about something. I can't remember what it was now, but all I know is something in that trailer.
I still kind of want to see it though.
No.
Okay, so up for Worst Actress is Jennifer Garner for Peppermint, Amber Heard for London Fields, Melissa McCarthy, the recently Academy Award nominated for Can You Ever Forgive Me, but for Happy Time Murders and The Life of the Party, Helen Mirren for Winchester, and Amanda Seyfried for The Clapper. Nominees for Worst Actor are Johnny Depp for Sherlock Gnomes in a voice-only role, Will Ferrell for Holmes and Watson, John Travolta for Goatee, Donald J. Trump as himself in Death of a Nation and Fahrenheit 11/9. No, yeah.
Sorry, can I just correct you there? It's not Goatee. I was wondering what the fuck you were talking about. Is Gotti.
Gotti.
I think
Who cares? It's a terrible
I thought it was a
film.
movie about
Doesn't
goats.
matter.
I'm pretty sure we had this
The
discussion
internet
last
goatee
time.
thing.
God. And Bruce Willis for Death Wish.
I haven't watched any of these things either.
No, I know. We've managed to miss everything.
Don't worry, they'll come up on What Do You Want to Watch? For what do we end up watching sooner or later?
Yeah, well, maybe. Worst supporting actor is Jamie Foxx for Robin Hood, Ludacris for Show Dogs, Joel McHale for Happy Time Murders, John C. Reilly for Holmes and Watson, and Justice Smith for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I think probably a bit stiff for that one. Then worst supporting actress is Kellyanne Conway for Fahrenheit 11/9, Marsha Gay Harden for 50 Shades Freed, Kelly Preston for Gotti. Pronounce that correctly that time. Yeah.
Very good.
Got him.
Jazz Sinclair for Slender Man, and Melania Trump for 11:9.
God damn it! I've seen Slender Man. I was nearly everything for everything there.
And then, worst screen combos. Any two actors or puppets in the Happy Time Murders. Johnny Depp in his fast fading career from Sherlock Gnomes.
Lol.
Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly for Holmes and Watson. Kelly Preston and John Travolta for Gotti, whatever, I don't give a fuck. Donald J. Trump and his self-perpetuating pettiness in Death of a Nation and Fahrenheit 11/9. And then the worst remake, rip-off, or sequel, Death of a Nation, Death Wish, Holmes and Watson, The Meg, and Robin Hood.
I don't know how you... Regardless of how you feel about them, I don't know why the Trumps have been nominated when it's a documentary. That they weren't acting in it.
The Razzies are one big joke, and they just want to give a fuck you to Trump, so...
Yeah, why not?
There was like 1 year there where they nominated... sometimes you'll read it and it'll be like, this actor for fucking everything they've done because... Like everything. It'll just say everything. I think there was 1 year, it's like Adam Sandler, every movie he did this year. Like, it's like, how's that a real nomination system? It's the Razzies are silly. They're just meant to be stupid.
Okay. So back sort of on the Oscars train. Apparently, they're only going to be performing 2 of the Oscar-nominated songs at the Oscars ceremony. Variety reports that Shallow from A Star Is Born and All the Stars from Black Panther will be the only nominated songs to be performed at the 91st Academy Awards. Apparently, it's a time thing, but there's a conspiracy also going on because apparently both tracks are from the Interscope label, so apparently there's some sort of favoritism that they're talking about in the background. Are you guys upset that we won't be seeing When a Cowboy Tracy Spurs for Wings performed live on the Oscars stage?
Yeah, I don't know.
I like that song, but I won't watch the Oscars, so it doesn't really bother me.
I was about to say, he's not going to watch the show anyway, so I don't know how it affects. But I don't know. I don't know that song, and I haven't watched Mary Poppins, so I don't know that song either. But my thoughts are it's bullshit and they should have all the songs because that's just tradition. Like, I want all the songs. That's just how the Oscars work to me. That's the show I'm used to. That's the show I like. I like how they'll spread out all of the songs throughout the show. I quite like it that way. And that's, even though obviously my favorite of the bunch is going to be seeing Kendrick on stage, no matter what, I want to see all of them just because that's how that's how they do the show. So disappointing. I was disappointed when I read this.
Interesting story out of Sundance. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but they just screened a documentary about Michael Jackson.
Yeah, where it accuses him very hard. A
4-hour documentary.
Bloody hell.
That pretty much, it's pretty damning apparently. So damning and in depth that at the interval they had social workers there to help anybody who might have be experiencing any issues in the lobby. So is a 4-hour documentary about the abuse that Michael Jackson gave to a couple of kids something you want to watch? Because I really don't want to. I know it feels like an odd choice to seek out something like that.
I feel like 4 hours of anything is something I don't really want to watch, but if it comes out and the reviews are actually like, this is really, really good, I could see myself splitting it up like over a 2-watch type thing because I would be intrigued, especially if people say it's actually quite good. Because all I've read so far is most of the stuff I've read about it has been from people saying, leave Michael Jackson alone. Like, he's dead, blah, 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 blah. And I'm definitely not in that camp of like, just because someone's dead doesn't mean they are free from...
Absolved of all their sins.
Yeah, absolved from all their sins. So I'm not against a documentary existing, but 4 hours does feel like that's a lot. For anything at all. A documentary about the happiest thing in the world. A documentary about how they make Paddington for 4 hours is still going to be a lot, you know? Like,
is it though? I don't know. Yeah, but everything I've seen out of it has been that it's very important and very has an important message and sort of is a very well crafted thing. But I don't think I've seen anything that's like, yeah, this is good or enjoyable or in any way. So I think that's pretty interesting. Apparently, it's coming to HBO later in the year, so I don't know.
It's like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Make it a 3-episode HBO special at that stage or something, you know? Like,
yeah, I don't know. Edit it down a bit.
Split it up. Yeah.
And then the only other big news that I really saw this past fortnight, Jason Reitman is going to be directing a third installment in the original based on, well, it'll be the 4th ever Ghostbusters film, and is going to be continuing from the original canon. Jason Reitman, obviously the son of Ivan Reitman, who directed the first 2 films. I am very surprised because I remember back in the day, Jason Reitman said in a bunch of interviews that he would make the worst Ghostbusters movie possible, but apparently he's making a Ghostbusters
He still
film.
might. He still might. Don't.
Yeah. Maybe he's trying to prove himself right.
Yeah. Man.
Well, yeah, he hasn't really done a big budget
comedy
or like a big budget film, really.
He does fucking dramatic indie films. That's why it's so, yeah.
I know. Yeah, but the sort of premise intrigues me. It seems like it's going to be like a next generation thing where it's going to be centered around a lot of kids sort of coming across the Ghostbusters equipment.
I hate everything about this. Not
Really?
anything to do with the plot, the actors, anyone involved. As soon as they announced it, I was like, fuck me, I'm going to have to mute the word Ghostbusters on Twitter soon, because this movie could be the best Ghostbusters movie, and I'll still have everyone on these motherfuckers on my Twitter complaining. It will be the worst Ghostbusters movie, and I'll have all these fuckboys complaining. It could be the best one since the first one, making it the second best, and fuckboys will still be on Twitter fucking complaining, and then everyone will bring up the remake again because they can't get over it, and they cry in their fucking tissues as they masturbate over action figures at night, and they will still complain about the one from a couple of years ago because they still complaining about it to this day. As soon as the trailer went up, I still saw people like straight away like back onto the female reboot and the fucking loser. I'm like, just get the fuck over it at this point. So yeah, that's my thing. I wish they never made this movie because I did a year of listening to people complain about Ghostbusters, and I'm fucking sick of listening to people complain about Ghostbusters. It's worse than Star Wars at this point, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't have that problem, but I saw that there was a piece or something was written or tweeted about from one of the actresses from the remake about it.
Leslie Jones, of course, came out and said, quote, "So insulting, like fuck us. We didn't count. It's like something Trump would do. Gonna redo Ghostbusters better with men. We'll be huge. Those women ain't Ghostbusters. Ugh, so annoying. Such a dick move. And I don't give a fuck. I'm saying something." So obviously not too happy. I understand why they might be going in a new direction. Obviously, sure, there was a lot of hate and rage about it, the film, but it underperformed compared to what they wanted.
Yeah, why would you make a sequel to an underperforming film?
I understand why she's angry though.
I can understand where she's coming from, of course, but I don't think.
But
they're
that's
doing
like
it. I don't think
anybody in the
reasons.
last 5 or 6 Halloween movies being angry that their film is no longer canon.
I don't think they're doing it for reasons that she is claiming they're doing it for.
No. Because I'm pretty sure Jason Reitman was involved he was like an executive producer or something in the reboot. And Paul Feig, who directed the film, also came out and said, "An absolute, honest to God, never-ending supply of bullshit and hate from these trolls. Leslie spoke her truth and I support her. I am very open to Jason's new version of Ghostbusters, but I'm also sad that our 2016 team may not get to bust again. We all are. We're proud forever of our movie."
Well, yeah,
So,
I think from the outside perspective, it's harder to get, but like they copped, like him and all of those involved with that Ghostbusters movie copped non-stop shit from the second that movie was announced, before they even started filming it. Like they were getting death threats and fuck yous from the second the cast was announced, from the second they announced they were going to do it. So yeah, when she's freaking out, you know, and they're like, well, this is bullshit. I get it, because they went through 2 years.
that was set up to fail, to be honest.
They were basically set up to fail, and I don't think their movie was great, but I feel like it was fine. I enjoyed it. I would actually take a sequel to that over this, personally, because by the end of that, I was like, you fix these problems, you do this, blah, 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 blah. You could have a really good sequel here, because the characters in that movie I was enjoying a lot, especially Kate McKinnon's character in that movie I quite enjoyed. So, Chris Hemsworth, fucking
Very good.
hilarious in that
Yeah.
movie as well. So there's a lot of pluses to that movie, but yeah, they were definitely set out to fail because before they went into that movie filming it with people saying "fuck you," say this is going to suck, the worst fucking movie ever. So I feel for them because they went out through all that negativity, fucking swam through it day after day to put that movie together, and then not a year and a half, 2 years, whatever the fuck it's been. I don't know. 2 years later, was
3
it?
years later. Yeah.
They're like, hey, we're doing another one, and we're going back to the original timeline because you's fucked up. So I get it. And the worst part is, I think, as I was making jokes about before, the worst part is they swum for all that shit. They're going to go back to this, and then still people won't be happy. People will still be fucking complaining. So it's the studio's trying to appease all the people that were complaining, but the fact is they're still going to complain no matter what you fucking do. Fucking make it Ghostbusters with pigs. They will complain. Make it Ghostbusters with whatever.
I don't know.
To be fair, I would complain if it was Ghostbusters with pigs.
I wouldn't.
Make it
cool.
Ghostbusters where they de-age all the original actors. Everyone will still complain. Like that. My point is, you can't win. There's no appeasing the trolls, and I feel like they are trying to appease the trolls somewhat.
I don't know, because apparently it was leaked, the news that Jason Reitman was working on this new film. They weren't going to announce it till very, very late, from what I hear. So, but then once the news came out, obviously they had to make a statement and sort of reveal what their plans are. So I don't know. I have hope. I like Jason Reitman. I mean, it's going to be something. Something we definitely will be talking about again in the future. All right. That's been the news. Let's jump into what we end up watching. Nick, what do you end up watching?
There will be blood.
There's a whole ocean of oil under our feet. No one can get at it except for me.
We'll offer $150,000 for full title.
When do we get our money, Daniel?
I look at people and I see nothing worth liking.
Don't bully me, Daniel, please!
I see the worst in people.
We have a sinner with us.
Get out of here, devil!
I have a competition in me. I want no one else to succeed. I can't keep doing this on my own. With these, people.
Yes, There Will Be Blood, the 2000 film directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, telling the story of a family, religion, hatred, oil, and madness, focusing on a turn-of-the-century prospector in the early days of the business, starring Daniel Day-Lewis, Paul Dano, Kieran Hines, a bunch of other people. Daniel Day-Lewis won the Oscar for this, I believe.
He did. He won Best Actor, but they didn't win Best Picture. That went to No Country for Old Men.
No, that's not
Tough
surprising. Nick, you picked the film this episode.
I did.
What'd you think?
I really liked it. There were parts that I thought had slowed down a bit that I felt were kind of a little unnecessary, but overall I really, really enjoyed it. I remember when it first came out, that was like the year I really started paying attention to Oscars and all that kind of stuff, and not being fully immersed in that kind of culture of cinephiles. I remember watching No Country for Old Men at that time and not really liking it, so I was thinking, all the movies nominated wouldn't be, I don't know, for me, I guess, but
All the nominated films are exactly the same.
I don't know. I was still coming out of the mindset of critics don't know anything and that kind of stuff, and all that kind of.
Nick used to be an internet troll.
No, not so much an internet troll, but movies I would enjoy would be critically panned. So I was like, what do they know? I know what I like, and I probably don't like what they like. So why would I go out of my way to watch them? But I'm glad I had a chance to come back and watch it and revisit it. So, yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis is absolutely phenomenal in this. I just really loved the period accuracy as well. It being a historical drama really spoke to me as well, that I enjoyed.
Cool. Dylan, you've famously said that this is what made you believe that Daniel Day-Lewis is the greatest living actor.
That's why he retired, I think.
Expound on this.
Yeah, no, I really, really like this movie. I watched it when it came out, or maybe the year after, probably like 2008 or something like. By the time it was on DVD or whatever, but I remember watching it then, and I would 10 out of 10 rewatch, 10 out of 10. The first time I watched it, I thought I would have put it like Daniel Day-Lewis's performance in this in like top 5 performances, and I still think it's. I don't know if it's in my top 5 because I've watched so many more movies now. I suppose it's 10 years later, so it'd be harder to make the list. But I definitely feel like his performance in this is one of my favorite performances ever, and he's an absolute powerhouse and shows. Yeah, he's amazing. I mean, him in this role, because watching this movie, I was probably more getting into, like Nick was just saying before, I would have been around the same age too, where I was getting into like watching movies more seriously in the cinephile culture, or however you want to put it. But yeah, this was definitely the movie I watched where I was like, that's acting. That's that is an amazing performance. And I still think, like, if this movie came out in the 50s or the 60s or something, we would refer to this movie as an epic. Because what people, or a blockbuster, I suppose, because what people refer to as epic or blockbusters these days are all superhero films and stuff. But even watching it again today, I'm watching it, I'm thinking, I had the exact same thought. I can't help but think, I'm like, if this came out in another time, people would have referred to it as an epic or a blockbuster or something along those lines. But it's simply like a drama or whatever. But people, if it came out years and years and years ago, it would have been up there with Ben-Hur's and fucking your Christian dramas and whatever else. These big, like, dramatic movies that are quite long and have powerhouse performances, and it's really less about the acting than it is the action of the performance, I suppose, and the story being told. But yeah, it's also worth noting that this movie, Paul Dano like come off the Little Miss Sunshine for this basically, and he is also amazing in this movie. And the last scene in this movie, I've rewatched several times throughout the years, just randomly. It'll come up in my suggestions box on YouTube for whatever reason. It'll be like ending scene from There Will Be Blood, or like the bowling scene from There Will Be Blood, or anything like that. And every time I see it, I watch it because it is one of the greatest movie scenes I think of all time. Just those two going at it in the finale of this movie, and him, especially Daniel Day-Lewis. It's one of those memes. Every time I see it, if I see a GIF of him saying the milkshake line, I'll always hear his voice in my head, just delivering that line. Drink the milk, and he does that like whole sound. The ending of this movie is just something.
That's odd because I'd never seen anything about that previous to watching this.
Really?
Yeah, really.
So many people write. I don't know. I suppose it depends who you're following and stuff. But I know a lot of people write about this movie, and
I definitely heard the line, "I drink your milkshake." It's definitely a thing. I think this is an amazing performance. Obviously, I think I didn't think it was so impressive until probably after his son gets injured. I think from there he has more to do, like range wise.
I think it's a build-up also because, like when he the thing about the movie, the plot or whatever you want to call it, is basically about his character. That's really the main plot. The plot isn't about the oil or anything to do with that. The plot is simply watching this man go through and become so obsessed with money and power and what, like, it's like Scarface, but not like as epic, I suppose, is one way to look at it, because
not illegal.
He just like and. Like when he starts out, of course, he's hunting for the oil at the start of the movie and whatever else.
No,
but he's definitely
it was a silver mine, I guess.
Yeah. But he it is because of the rock. But he's a different character. You know what I mean? Like, so by the end of the movie, when he's more kind of psycho or however you want to put it, he's definitely more of he gets to do more of an eccentric performance as a bit more of a psychotic character, because he's, by the end of the movie, he's just yelling and shouting a lot and all these sorts of things.
It's not unlike the evolution of the character in Casablanca.
Yeah, similar. And if this came out at the same time period as Casablanca, that's what I'm talking about. Like, people would be
Casablanca would even be talked about.
Yeah, I feel like because I don't feel like he's as bad at the start. I understand at the movie he's obsessed with money and power to a degree or whatever, like mostly money, I suppose.
So let's go into spoilers from here.
Okay. Next to credit, we're going into spoilers.
Yeah.
I definitely don't. I don't feel like he's so obsessed at the start, and that's.
I think the thing I got out of it that he always had a kind of that kind of streak to him. Like it was always underlying. Like he took in the son or the child to be because he was compassionate towards his co-worker that died, but then he realized the kind of he could use him to get to where he wanted, and he was just like pretending. Like at the end of the day, it was all about gaining more power and money. Like everything.
I don't know. I think his son grounded him and sort of set him on the straight and narrow. But then when he couldn't connect with his son, it sort of tipped him over the edge. I think that was my interpretation anyway.
One thing that really, really bothered me was the Paul Dano, how he played twins. Like, he shows up as, I don't know, whatever the brother's name is, but then when he gets to the ranch, like, there's no mention of him, like, and we as a viewer assumed that Eli was just him pretending not to know them and all that, and then it isn't revealed all the way until the end that they were twins, so that I think you could have got a separate actor in there that saved all that confusion and whatnot.
I looked up I didn't have this confusion, but it's probably because I've watched the movie before, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if I had that confusion the first time watching it, but I looked up the trivia just before, and it said that they originally had another actor playing Sunday or whatever, but then he liked Paul Dano so much that he was like, "No, fuck it, we'll just change it, and you're a twin now."
Yeah, I think what I read that Paul Dano was originally meant to play the twin, but the actor that was playing Eli had pulled out or something like that, and they just got him to play both roles.
Yeah.
But even just to throw away a line going like, "Oh yeah, our brother's moved on" or something like that, it would have. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, they did there. That big scene where he fights with the dad, like halfway through the film.
Yeah, he does say, "Oh, it was whatever Sunday or whatever." Of Paul or whatever. Yeah, he does yell at the dad and get on. He's like, "Paul sent him here. You're an idiot. You're an idiot." So they do say it, but that is like half an hour after we've had this character on screen.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I felt like that sort of built the tension. Like, is he playing him or not? Because he did obviously know a little bit about the oil. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, and it was just very awkward. Like, especially when they first showed up and set up camp, and it was like. I don't know, just kind of like no recognition there. Like it was just kind of odd from a viewer's perspective. But yeah, like a couple of things with the pacing slowed down quite a little bit that I don't know, just felt a bit off to me. But otherwise, yeah, really, really good film. I really enjoyed it. Glad I watched it.
I enjoyed the storyline with his brother as well. Brother in quotation marks. I thought that panned out. That worked out really well. And then just every single confrontation between Daniel and Eli was just entertaining to watch. Just the fuck you about the blessing, and then him having to be baptized at the end. Even the scene where he just pushes him in the mud constantly and slaps him around.
He gets humiliated doing the baptism, and then that's why he fucking gets him back so hard at the end of the movie and makes him humiliate himself before he's like, "Yeah, no, that land, it's gone. Drunk the milkshake."
Yeah.
But it's also worth pointing out that like a subtle thing that's there with his character, Sunday, is that he's become kind of his own worst enemy. It's kind of hinted at. You know, he comes in with a lot better suit. He's been off. He's got all these endeavors happening. You know, it's years later. Church is a big success. Whatever else, but it's basically hinted at that he's got himself in the money troubles.
Well,
somehow.
That period of time in history was the Great Depression, so
yeah. But it's like after everything, and like he then comes squabbling back.
Yeah,
give me money, like for whatever reason, what he's done. But it's like I don't know if I read into it too much, but I definitely look at the suit he's wearing and the cross he's got. He's got a lot more nicer clothes on than we're used to like 10 years later or whenever this point is, and I just take it as he's got himself in the trouble somehow, because he had money and upgraded. The church was probably doing well, whatever else. But yeah, now he becomes his own worst enemy.
Yeah.
And after all that shit he gave him, he has to come squabbling back to little old Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah.
Well, he's definitely playing like a prototype of a televangelist. In it for the money, not so much for the religion.
Those freaking church scenes.
Yeah, goes out the frozen. It's so funny because he's so quiet and everything, and then when he gets in the church, he's so loud and obnoxious,
over the
and
top,
chucking the demons out the doors and whatever else he's doing.
Why were they following him? It's not like he suddenly healed her arthritis.
Why do people follow anyone? But I mean, not to offend anyone, but it's the same sort of thing. Why do people follow him back then? The same as they watch these daytime TV priests now that get really popular. It's the same sort of thing.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Yeah, the thing I really liked about the movie is how it made you flip flop between being compassionate or like really liking Daniel Day-Lewis to really hating him. Just the kind of flip flop throughout the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any closing
10
thoughts?
10 out of 10 movie. 10 out of 10. Great movie.
Yep. I'll be safeguarding my milkshake from now on.
Yeah. How would you not notice a straw going into your milkshake? All right. That brings us to the end of this episode of What Do You Want to Watch? Nick, where can people find you on Trakt and possibly on Twitter?
At Lord and Prior, Prior.
Dylan, where can people find you, those two places?
Viva Ladil, Vivaladil.
And you can find me at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEYHOBLEY. You can follow the Explosion Network over at Explosion Pod on Twitter. You can check it out, our Twitch content over at twitch.tv/Explosion Network, and our YouTube content over at youtube.com/Explosion Network. Or just go to explosionnetwork.com, where all our content is, including reviews, reacts, all sorts of cool stuff. If you want to talk to us about this episode, about the stuff we've been watching, you can go over to our Discord at explosionnetwork.com/Discord. If you want to correspond with us privately, send us an email at mail@explosionnetwork.com. And of course, if you want to help us out, leave us a review, either on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser, or just tell somebody. Just go to somebody having a milkshake, stick your straw in and say, what do you want to watch?
What?
Yep, that seems on par with other episodes. All right, thank you very much for listening, and until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.